custom syntax highlighter as well. It's the battle.2 source, we don't want that, we want BK1.
So if I could interrupt you, do you actually get like a dump off Family Tracker, or do you have to actually go note by note?
You have to go note by note. This is the old music engine. Like you have to write, I made actual labels for some of the commands, since these are all correspond to hexadecimal. Like, you know, this is a note, this is another note, this is a length, you know, and then it's 1, 4, 8, which corresponds to A sharp, C sharp, F.
There is actually, I believe from what I've read a thread about on SDIP once, there is a way to dump off a Family Tracker, but then you have to use their sound engine. So, I mean, you have to streamline it to customize exactly what you do to do that, and then I use Family Tracker as well because I'm musically clueless, so luckily I've got this awesome chiptunes artist that does my music, and he sends me this stuff in Family Tracker, and then my buddy Derek, who made that Anomalous game, since we're buddies, he did me a favor and wrote a exporter engine that exports it specifically for my own sound engine, so I'm spoiled. But I did have to, for the first few songs, I did have to, like, Sivak did just enter note length. Are you using Metal Slime's engine as well, or something?
No.
Your own?
The guy, he made one for Mystic Pillars, then he modified it slightly for Battle Kid, where he just added one thing where you could have pitch slides, so you could have the tom drums in the triangle, for instance.
Yeah.
And then he modified it again for BK2, where the music data is a lot more compact, which is very good, because in BK1, I think it was well over like 32 kilobytes of music, and that's like 1/8 of the game.
Yeah, if you're not using a mapper, it's the entire game. Actually, Super Mario Bros. 1, its addressable programming space is 32K, so it's...
Who's the chip artist that you got?
His name's Computerization. If you get a chance to look him up on 8-Bit Collective, he's awesome.
Definitely. That is.
Yes.
I don't remember if I read it off the forums or if I specifically asked you. Your answer to the question was, or the question was something about how you go about creating your levels, and you said you started with your music first. Is that still applying with BattleKit?
Yeah, in some cases it is. I've written about like 10 songs for this game, but I only have like 4 areas done.
So it is still, the same formula is still there? You were waiting to just work on the area based on the inspiration?
Yeah, because the main thing I'm waiting for with the areas are a lot of the graphics. Because I don't do the graphics for the game. Another guy, his name is Dave, he does them for me, mostly. I sometimes edit his stuff or do like really minuscule things. But yeah, I'm mainly waiting for stuff to come. But in the meantime, I'm just writing music because I know what the areas will be. So, you know, just make something to fit a future setting.
Have you fixed up some of the, because one of the issues that you had mentioned to me before was that BattleKit 1 had there was just an extraordinary limit to the amount of sprites and stuff that like you were saying, the initial concept for the waterfalls and the water area ended up, you had to take some of it out to free up space for something later on. Have you fixed any of that, or figured out different ways to optimize BattleKit 2 to add more to it?
Well, the game I think is optimized from an engine standpoint. Because it was the first time I've ever done a game like that, so I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like just getting him to even like fall down and stop when he touches the background was a big accomplishment. But this time around, like I had a better idea of what I was doing. So the general engine itself is more optimized. There's more features to the engine, like there's ice blocks later on.
Fuck you!
As well as conveyor belts, and there is sludge, which it halves your speed. But in the first game, he always moves at a constant speed of 2, because there you go, that's number 1.
Yeah!
Got like 7 or 8 deaths? It's not bad.
Because it always assumes that you'll be at an even point, like when you're moving left. Like it'll always be at an even point, so that way you'll hit the wall. Because if it's an odd point, you can actually move into the wall. But yeah, in this one you can move at more variable speeds, and then be ejected. Be ejected from the wall accordingly.
So there's no real collision in the game. It's just.
Well, in the first game, it sees if you're attempting to move into a wall, and if it just doesn't allow it. And this one, it lets you move into the wall, but then pushes you out of the wall. You know, you're into the wall. Like someone had suggested that to me, like well after I was done with the general engine of the first game.
Yeah, I'm on your shit. God damn it. That's cool.
You thought of doing anything more with any more teleporting bosses like in the first game?
Probably. Yeah, the first three are, like the third one, he kind of teleports into the battle, but he doesn't actually teleport during the fight. But yeah, I'm sure I'll have teleportation later on.
What's the plot line like?
Well, you beat the first game, right?
Yeah.
Does anyone not want me to spoil it?
Tima saves the
Just
day.
put your fingers in your ears. At the end of the first game, what's that?
Does the spoiler have to do with entering that locked door on the
No,
side? That has nothing to do with the storyline?
no, you can enter that locked door. You're talking about the very, very end?
You had made a comment at the end of my LP that I had no idea
Oh, with the
why
floor blocks?
Yeah, why I didn't go into the locked
Yeah.
door. It was very obvious there should have been something over there.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
haven't gone
when
back
you-
to
oh, you
look
haven't
at
done
it.
that? Okay, yeah. When you do that, you wind up capturing one of the three antagonists that you see in the intro cutscene.
Oh,
And the other two are involved in this game. It involves like going after them. Like the first one, he's captured, and then the other two, like I said. And the third boss in the game is actually one of them.
So, I'm wondering whether any of your other hobbies are exercises in sadomasochism like this one.
And what now?
Do we like it using ourselves?
Oh,
But no, other people. You don't know.
no, I could never do that.
Good for me.
I might taunt you, but I'll never physically harm anyone. Taunt!
So is this supposed to be the complete, like, the end, the sequel to the Battle Kid, and then you'd be moving on to another project? Like, this is going to tie up any loose ends story-wise?
Well, I mean, I could always do as many games as I want, but I don't know. I'm not sure how it'll end. It'll probably just be, like, open-ended. Like, if I want to make another one, I will, and if not, then it'll be ended in such a way that it could conceivably be the end. Yeah, one genre I wouldn't mind trying out is doing a shoot-'em-up. Though not for the NES, maybe more for C++, with lots of bullets everywhere.
Actually, we were working on it for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Project Schmucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a rough demo that I put out.
Yes.
It worked, but, you know, it wasn't that special. Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I just walked in and I probably might sound like an asshole. So, I noticed, like, there was actually an exhibit in New York recently about abusive games at this place called Baby Castles, and there were other games that were sort of like along the same lines of extreme difficulty. But did you ever, when you made the game first, did you ever intend it to be obscenely difficult, or were you trying to like overcome that, like, you know, that whole idea of something being so difficult that it's abusive and making it like tactically difficult in the way that you've made it?
Well, I pretty much based it on I want to be the guy.
Right.
Like, you know, you can tell from the sprite. He's cool with me using the sprite similar. I liked I want to be the guy in some ways, and I hated it in some ways. And what I was really trying to do was just strip out the things I hated about it, like, you know, the unforeseeable deaths. That was the main thing. But yeah, I definitely did want to make a hard game.
Jumped into a sword.
But I like to say hard but fair. Would be the
Right.
generalization.
One thing I noticed was that, like, when you playing, like, I Want to Be the Guy, there's sort of like a very hidden layer to it of the difficulty. Like, the difficulty is actually hidden. Whereas, like, in this game, you walk into a room, and by, like, carefully looking at the room, you can, like, understand how the room is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Is that something that you were, like, going for when you
Oh,
designed?
yeah, definitely. I didn't want anything to do